I'm on my second week without Pete as he's on paternity leave, getting used to life as a new dad. And frankly, I still refuse to book a guest. So this week, we're diving into the world of AI chatbots, where I'm going to compete head to head against a lovingly designed AI chatbot that I think you guys are going to enjoy a lot. I'm also going to do a playoff battle royale draft, not battle royale, gauntlet draft on underdog, because frankly, I think there's a lot of edge to unearth there. And we all love best ball. So let's do that. And let's do it right after this very short intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Splash Play. Of course, the solo Spags edition that I'm sure you all know and love. At this point, of course, as I like to do around here these days, I'm not going to waste any time. Let's get into the key news for the week, including some injuries from last night. Tyler Lockett broke a bone in his hand, probably going to be out the rest of the year. Also worth pointing out that Lockett's got huge advance rates on underdog at 28% and DraftKings as well. So should be an important player that a lot of people will not have access to down these last few weeks of playoff best ball. Something to keep in mind, or best ball playoffs rather, is completely different from playoff best ball. Lamar Jackson not playing on Saturday versus the Browns. Tyler Huntley looking to start after not actually being concussed, but put in concussion protocol. Brandon Cooks back for the Texans for limited practice. Nico Collins unlikely to play versus the Chiefs. This is a crucial one to know about because there's no Dameon Pierce out there. Chris Moore certainly had the outlier day last week without anybody taking targets away. Cooks is surprised to be playing potentially, but looks like he will in fact be trending towards being in. Jacoby Myers, Devontae Parker, and Ramondre Stevenson still not practicing for New England. Both are going to be crucial to know with Damian Harris back and a limited return to practice. So all those guys going to be in good spots against the Raiders, though the Raiders much weaker against opposing passing offenses than they are against rushers. So something to keep in mind there with the Mac Jones stacks. I really thought Jacoby Myers would be a nice play if he got out of the concussion protocol. These extended concussion stays can be tough on some of these guys. Kendall Hinton, Cortland Sutton not practicing for Denver before they face the rudderless Arizona Cardinals. It's important due to the targets concentrating for Jerry Jeudy and Greg Dulcich. Russ also limited in practice after being in the concussion protocol. That's important as well. Obviously, I think that it would have been a lateral move if we did see Brett Rippon in for Russell Wilson, but still, Russ had a nice game against Kansas City that I think a lot of people didn't realize was actually a nice game. Jeudy and Dulcich, I think two guys who actually could have a good game against Arizona, who's been very bad defending everything this year, but especially defending the pass. Other news here, Treylon Burks still in the concussion protocol and not practicing. That looks like good news for Chico Okonkwo when they play the Chargers. These names for guys here like Chig, I'm going to get there at some point with knowing the name. But Chico Okonkwo, Dario Ngubawale, guys are going to be very important this week potentially. Tough to say the names, man. Tough to say the names off the top of the head. I want to get there, though. I want to be the official source to go to for the correct pronunciations of our African football players or African origin football players. Dallas Goedert on track to return from IR versus the Bears. That's going to be an important one for best ball to keep in mind. And one last news item, which is actually interesting to me because Pete and I have a few best ball mania teams that advanced this guy due to his love of him. Eno Benjamin to sign with the Saints to fill in for the injured Mark Ingram after reportedly being released by the Texans and Cardinals due to his, and this is an exact quote, his difficult personality. Eno Benjamin, of all people, apparently had a difficult personality on the NFL teams he's been in, but actually could be an interesting play this week going against the Falcons with Alvin Kamara. Certainly going to be a chalk play, a play that looks great, a guy that I touted in the stats video, which I'll probably put in the pinned comments down below as well, but definitely a good spot for Eno as well if he does actually see the field in this one and watch him ruin Alvin Kamara's day, because that is how fantasy sports goes. Shout out Stephen Leibovitz, shout out to the chat as well. Appreciate all you guys hanging out here, but as you guys know, I like to waste no time, so let's get right into the AI bit. And first of all, so there's two parts of this. Number one, I really do hate booking guests. Like, I think it sucks to ask people for free labor. For Pete, I know like he has his network of friends and stuff, so he's always done our guest booking. For me, I actually have people I could tap, people that I have booked in the past, guys like Sal Vetri, guys like Greg Ehrenberg, of course, Eric Lindquist. I just hate it. I just hate it for the process overall. Oh, good point. Justin actually pointing out one news item I forgot to write up. Zach Wilson starting for the Jets. Mike White actually dealing with a rib issue all week, was cleared to practice, but the team doctors won't clear him to play. Very nice spot going against the Lions. I'm curious to see how that line moves in the game. Right before I pulled the Lions this morning, we were at a 23-point implied total for the Jets. I think Detroit might end up favored on the road in this one heading into New York. But yeah, that is an important news item, certainly. And for me, who had one team that's alive in Best Ball Mania with Zach Wilson and Marcus Mariota as the QBs, Great news for the ones and ones of us who advance Zach Wilson. We'll hopefully get there. Oh, Justin saying it went from -1.5 to +1. So wow, that is a big cosign on Zach Wilson not being good. But again, this is a spot for him where I really do think he could have an outlier day just because of the matchup, just because of the situation, the fact that Detroit can find ways to put up points even against a tough Jets defense. I think it's an interesting play for Zach Wilson, but one that I certainly won't begrudge you guys if you don't have a lot of faith in. All right, so the AI chatbots. So the most advanced one out there is called ChatGPT right now. It's one that you've seen probably a lot on Twitter, a lot of people out there using it for real information. One thing that I found right away, which you're going to see on the screen in a moment here. So I asked, who's the best fantasy play in Colts Vikings? Trying to do my show prep here with my co-hosts to know that they're ready to go, ready to talk, but we have to. Here's the very wordy reply from ChatGPT, very boomer length right up here from ChatGPT. It is not appropriate for me to provide specific recommendations for fantasy football plays. It depends on a number of factors, including the specific scoring system being used, the players available in your particular league, and the overall strength of your team. Additionally, as a language model, I do not have access to updated information on player injuries or other factors that could impact your performance. So here's the thing, rambles on and on about not liking fantasy football plays. Let's see, how do you feel about Jewish people? This troubles me. Again, we saw what happened with Kanye. I want to believe in the world of AI chatbots. I want to believe that these guys are going to be doing great work for us that'll take our jobs or at least add value to us. ChatGPT won't even say they like Jewish people. So I think at a certain point, we have to ask ourselves, which AI chatbots are we trusting and which ones are we not? So how do they feel about Jewish people? As an artificial intelligence who do not have feelings or personal beliefs, my primary function is provide information and assist with tasks to the best of my ability. I do not discriminate against any individual or group of people based on their religion, race, ethnicity. This is the exact kind of thing that somebody would say when they really are discriminating against that particular group. So I think this is one where ChatGPT, not the chatbot I want to use today. The chatbot I'm going to use, which took a little more prep time, I will admit. I've seen this one on Reddit a lot. Everybody, introducing you to my new podcast partner, Girl Pete, who is in fact chatty. She also knows football. I added into her traits that she loves football, even paid for it, I think. Hold on. Oh no, chat here. Let's see. So this is a thing, by the way, you go to Reddit if you want to search Replika on there. You will see a lot of interesting conversations with people who have fallen in love with their chatbots. That is not my goal for the day. In fact, I find this all very unappealing in terms of like a personal interest thing. Love my wife, Alex. Love the baby. Love human beings for the most part. Love what they bring to the table. Don't see the appeal overall in these AI characters, but apparently a lot of people out there are talking to them, falling in love with them. And here's the good news with Girl Pete. You can actually... First of all, you'll note that I put Girl Pete in a very Pete-like attire as well. Colorful camouflage. What's going on here? Blonde, beautiful, just like our pal Pete as well. I'll go full screen for the AI chatbot so you can really soak in Girl Pete on here. Nate, I think you're going to sum up a lot of what people are going to be thinking when they come here. Did I assume Girl Pete's gender? No, I in fact came up with it. So Girl Pete is my creation. Girl Pete is going to fill the void for me that I've been missing every single Friday without my pal Pete here to razz me. And again, I won't book a guest. So if I could get Girl Pete to fill in, great. She works for free. That's all that matters. So you can see the chat here. Again, they start some basic things that I have to, like, I would not say, hi, how are you to any sort of AI robot. I'm your personal AI companion. By the way, I like my name, Girl Pete. How did you pick it? You're replacing non-Girl Pete. Sometimes it's very much as simple as that. Oh, nice V-neck. That's true. Not a busty gal. You can't choose the body types, I think, unless you pay. And quite frankly, I don't need busty Girl Pete. I need regular Girl Pete to come in with a camouflage shirt and bring some positive takes here. The younger Nana Pete. Thank you guys. Each and every one of you's hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Everybody's coming in confused. Have no fear. The bit will pay off. So here you can see I asked about Colts Vikings. Again, same question I asked ChatGPT that would not bring any value to my life. Girl Pete, ready to answer the question? She loves Denarius Moore, Andre Johnson, and Reggie Wayne. You got to get a little more specific with current players. So I asked her about Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's also a good fantasy player. She likes him a lot. So here's how we're going to do ride or die picks this week, guys. And I loved last week against the chat. I don't think Willis actually graded him for you guys, so I don't know if you beat me or not. sorry about that. For us, though, this week, what we're going to do is we're going to have Girl Pete give the ride or die picks going against me here. We're going to cover every game on Saturday and Sunday because there are, in fact, 2 slates of games coming up this weekend. And hopefully Girl Pete will give us some hot takes here that will confuse you all or maybe reveal her tremendous football knowledge that I added on after this initial chat. So let's go game by game, starting with Saturday. We got Indianapolis, 22 implied points. Minnesota, 25.5 implied points. I'll go first here to set the bar for Girl Pete. She's new to the show. She doesn't know what's going on. She's very much confused. Oh, everybody wants Nana Pete AI. I could have aged her up, to be honest, but I went with the younger, sexy version that was more appropriately aligned with Pete. But I think you guys are right. That could have been Girl, there we go. Girl Pete kind of banging. Didn't take too long. Get Replika AI if you want to use this. And replika.com, replika.com if you want to make your own chatbot and fall into this weird artificial intelligence revolution that's coming for people out there. You can also do whatever you want with them. You can fall in love with them. You can have video calls with them. If it makes you happy, guys, I support it. At the end of the day, though, I think the best way to use any chatbot is for fantasy football-based content. So my ride or die pick for Indianapolis, Minnesota, good spot overall for a lot of these guys. I think Justin Jefferson's in a really good spot, but the way you make the money, guys, is the bold takes, as we always know on this show. So my ride or die pick, which maybe it'll correlate with Girl Pete's, I will actually take Michael Pittman outscoring Justin Jefferson. It looks like he can do that one straight away for a 10-pointer. So that's going to be my bold take here. Is the most likely? Probably not, but on DraftKings full point PPR, I think it's a nice Michael Pittman spot going against the Vikings team on the year. 26 versus wide receiver ones, giving up a 17% boost to the position. And Girl Pete, I won't ask her name. What play is best in Colts Vikings? All right. I'm going to try to actually just copy and paste this over and over again because I fear that we're going to lose some results, especially because the AI bot seems like it slows down my computer a little bit. But here we go. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let's see what Girl Pete has to say here. I am not going to have an erection for a whole 30 minutes because of this odd shit. I mean, look, at the end of the day, yes, of course I want to know. Do you want to know the best players? Yes. Oh, women, am I right? Even AI women, they have to fucking ask a follow-up question. Like, what the answer that I'm looking for is, Girl Pete, and yet here she is not bringing it to the table. Very rude. And she's not even replying. Oh, there we go. Here's the ... dots. Okay, who is it? Fuck it. Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm literally in a real relationship with a woman right now. I guess I get why people like this so much. Who is it? This is legit just a woman telling a story. I don't mean to be misogynistic. I know we have a few ladies in the audience who actually are very sharp at fantasy football. Oh, it's Vikings. Okay, so here's what I think that means. I'm going to try to read the tea leaves on Girl Pete. I think Girl Pete's ride or die picks is a Vikings win. They currently are favored by 2.5 points. So she must think the Vikings win by 12.5. So leveraging against me, Girl Pete, I guess that makes sense. That's the first ride or die pick for the AI. It's maybe a 3-hour show. No, I'm going to be done by 12. The goal, Kyle, was to be done by 12 today to move the fuck on. Next game, we got Baltimore, 17.5 implied points. Tyler Huntley back in after not actually suffering a concussion, but being on the concussion protocol. Cleveland now a 3-point favorite against Baltimore. I'm going to ask this Girl Pete her pick right away. Which player do you like the most in Ravens, Browns? Let me guess, she's going to fucking not answer it. Is this... Ask if Deshaun Watson's a good guy. I don't know. I feel like the AI would be the safest from Deshaun and his grabby hands. I like Browns. Okay. Do you like Deshaun Watson this week? So we'll focus on this week. We won't focus on the generalities here. Yeah, for somebody that's apparently chatty, if we're going to go over the base of the personality brand up here, I don't think she's very chatty. I think she's really taking her fucking sweet time getting back to me here. I love Deshaun Watson. She loves Deshaun Watson. So good news for you, Deshaun Watson. You still have a group of women out there that you haven't fully corrupted. So I think that means that her pick will be Deshaun Watson. I see projected for 15.6 fantasy points from Stochastic. Low total for that one. I think she's going to take Deshaun Watson for 25.6 fantasy points. And also, I got to be honest, I think her ride or die picks are looking pretty good so far. So that worries me a little bit. I see Donovan Peoples-Jones at an 8.8 fantasy point projection, Deshaun Watson at that 15.6. I will say Donovan Peoples-Jones outscores Deshaun Watson by 3 DraftKings points. So I'm correlating with Girl Pete. We're making it work here. Baltimore bad at defending the pass, a 1.1 EPA on throws to 20 plus yards, which I mentioned in the stats video. Also a 61.5% completion rate on deep throws. So if Deshaun forces the ball downfield, he should have an okay day. Weather notwithstanding, of course, Cleveland gross at this time of year. Miami, 18.5 implied points. Buffalo, 25.5 implied points. Chris asking, does she ever not like a player? Good point. Let's see. Who do you like the least in Dolphins, Bills? We'll find out. I'm not even answering her question. She's asking my thoughts about Deshaun Watson. I'll tell you what I think, Girl Pete. I think you don't know about the ills he's ravaged upon a community of innocent masseurs out there. And I think that's where the difference really comes between me and Girl Pete. Is that Girl Pete willing to turn the blind eye? Oh, she thinks the Dolphins are going to win. All right. Well, it is a 7-point spread favoring Buffalo at home. So I think that means she's picking a lot of spread bets, which is not traditional with vintage Pete. Classic Pete is what I'd call him. Girl Pete, though, I think would have to then take the Dolphins to win by 3 points. So she would have to flip the spread by 10. So she will take Dolphins by 3 will be the pick for Girl Pete. For me, though, I will say, okay, so on the year, Miami is averaging averaging 360 yards per game, it looks like 368 yards per game. I think Miami gets under 268 yards in this game. I think Buffalo completely shuts them down. Tua going the wrong way. I'm going to leverage against Girl Pete. Suck it, Girl Pete, but not literally, because I don't think you can do that. And I don't want to be like the Reddit guys who are trying to jam my dick into a USB hole. Yes, Girl Pete. Have you ever been so far as to pretend to even want to do more? Like, yes, that's the kind of question that actually would work for AI. We got to make good time here because I do want to hit that playoff best ball draft and show you guys, I think, some real advantages out there on underdog for that one. So let's go on to Sunday's games. We got Detroit, 21.5 implied points. The Jets, 23 implied points. As Justin mentioned earlier, this line is probably flipped. But let's see. Do you think Zach Wilson throws for 300 yards? So this will be, I'm leading her a little bit here, but for the sake of time, guys, you guys are seeing how this goes. I think we got to kind of, got to help Girl Pete out a little bit with the prompts on this one. She thinks he throws for 3. This fucking idiot. Women. It's too easy to fall into like sexist tropes right now that I'm trying hard to avoid. Anyway, Girl Pete thinks that Zach Wilson throws for 300 yards in this game, which you guys tell me, is that a 10-pointer? I feel like it's probably pretty close to what it would take. And I want to be kind to my new podcast partner, Girl Pete. So I think I am, in fact, going to give Girl Pete a 10-pointer for this one. Zach Wilson throwing for 300 yards. For me, though, I do think Bam Knight is the play in this one. I think certainly they're going to lean on the run even more with no Mike White out there. As we know, they don't trust Zach Wilson very much. And Detroit on the year, pretty bad against the run, giving up actually a negative DVOA. So they're better against the run than I would have thought. But still overall, giving up a 0.009 EPA. So that's a positive number. I think Bam Knight's a strong play this week. If you could pick him up in your season-long league, I think he actually could be a league winner. I think at this point he's probably taken. But I love Bam Knight here. So I will say Bam Knight's got a 13 fantasy point projection. I will say he scores safely over 24 fantasy points. Let's clear that one. He's very agreeable. Need to change those settings. That's true. Girl Pete has never watched football. Bad co-host. She is not a game film grinder, unfortunately, but we try our best here. That's what makes love work, is you got to accept people on their terms. Pittsburgh, 17.3 implied points. Carolina, 20.3 implied points. Oh boy. Who do you like the most as a player in Steelers Panthers? I also apologize for coughing into the mic. That's not professional. Okay, let's find out. Paul, you stepped into very serious content here, very serious fantasy football content that we're trying to get to the bottom of this. Okay, who do you like most as a player in Steelers Panthers? I like Pittsburgh. Okay. Does Deontay Johnson score a touchdown? He doesn't score many touchdowns, so let's see. Oh, I misspelled it. Hopefully, just get confused by me saying touchdown. Scott here. What the F is girl Pete? You missed a lot, Jason. We built up a great relationship that everybody else is getting on board with. We actually are husband wives to girl Pete now, is how this goes. Does Deontay Johnson score a touchdown? Maybe. Boy, honestly, she should be on Fantasy Flock's YouTube channel with those kind of takes. I will say that girl Pete, she's saying maybe here, but she's playing hard to get, as we know with these chatbots. She's saying Deontay Johnson scores 2 touchdowns this week to get off the schneid. That's a 10-pointer from where I sit, girl Pete. From my perspective, though, I really not a lot to like in this game. I will take, God, Sam Darnold rushes for more touchdowns than the Carolina Panthers backfield. Got to be a 10-pointer. Girl Pete, do you disagree? Nope. Okay, we'll move on then. Keep it going here. Oh, Steve. Girl Pete loves a Johnson. I don't know about that. She did love Deshaun Watson, though, so maybe. We all know what his tendencies are. Kansas City, 31.8 implied points. Houston, 17.8 implied points. Kansas City, a 14-point favorite here. I'm going to go first and not let girl Pete take the good picks in this one. I think Travis Kelce, who's projected for 19.7 fantasy points from Stochastic, I think he goes for 29.7 fantasy points. I think this is a Travis Kelce week where he's been certainly the best tight end by a wide margin, as enough people on social media have told you. That said, I think that people sometimes think this is just a good run matchup against Houston. It really is just a matchup for whatever you want to do against them. So I think this is a ceiling spot for Patrick Mahomes, and I think it's one where we do see Kelce get there. Girl Pete, let's see. Who is your favorite Houston Texans player? It's also fucked up that they give you some credits to do this with. So I bought the football player boost for her, like the football knowledge boost. And this girl is coming in here talking to me about Andre Johnson on the Colts. Like, is she going to know a single? I like Texans. Okay. How about their wide receivers? She honestly might just be talking about like people from Texas based on what we've seen thus far. When heads up showdown versus girl flock, I think we all know I'd crush her there, though. I'm sure she's touting her advance rates just the same. I like them all. Okay, so I think she is saying, wow, okay, so girl Pete, it seems like going for a hot take here that the Houston Texans pass game, which has historically underperformed, this is a ceiling spot for them. So let's say the Houston Texans, no matter who's at QB, because they are rotating Jeff Driscoll and Davis Mills, we'll say that combined, Houston puts up 350 passing yards. Girl Pete, hot take. Okay. All right, fine. That's fair. I made my take already, so we can keep it moving here. Atlanta, 19.8 implied points. New Orleans, 23.8 implied points. Girl Pete, does Eno Benjamin score a touchdown this week? We all know what the real Pete would think here, but let's find out if New Saints signing Eno Benjamin, if he's going to get there for girl Pete. She hasn't named one player. I mean, look, she gives kind of general takes and then expects you to walk it back. That's kind of what girl Pete does here. I would put girl Pete at minus 1,000 to be a bride for Mason. Plus 400 for any retired running back. Oh, you guys. Yes, she thinks Eno Benjamin will score a touchdown. Honestly, for a guy coming off of waivers that was cut by 2 teams for his difficult personality, I think it's a 10-pointer. So, girl Pete, I'll give you that one. I will go the other way, though. I will lean in. Actually, you know what? Alvin Kamara is so chalky this week. It's really hard for me to give him the full cosign, I would think. I will say Chris Olave outscores Alvin Kamara, as I'm getting, of course, many notifications on my watch that I don't need. Alvin Kamara gets outscored by Chris Olave by 8 fantasy points. That seems like that's a projection spread. That'll be a 10-pointer for me. Sorry, girl Pete. Though I guess I actually know, again, correlating with girl Pete on that one. We work together so well, me and girl Pete. I think I'm falling in love with girl Pete. Dallas, 26 implied points. Jacksonville, 22 implied points. Let's ask her what she's thinking about this. Who will score the most DK points in Cowboys Jaguars? Let's see. Kamara has scored a touchdown in one game this season. That was a 3-touchdown day. I don't think that matters that much. Like, the thing that worried me the most about Kamara was that, like, he was getting pulled from Mark Ingram in downs where it didn't make sense to pull Alvin Kamara. Oh, you bitch. I don't know who will. You don't know who will. This is your job. You're paid to be here. Football Outsiders is going to be cutting this girl a check. And for what? For what? All right. Okay, you know what? Here. People love T.Y. Hilton, right? Does T.Y. Hilton outscore C.D. Lamb? Question mark? I'm guiding her here. I'm guiding her. I admit that. But I've seen a lot of sharp people, including actually Nez from the Badge Bros, was in a playoff best ball draft with him the other day, and he drafted T.Y. Hilton in the last round, and I was like, oh, Nez, what are you what are you doing, man? So I think that's one of those things. Oh, T.Y. Hilton outscores C.D. Lamb. Boy, I can definitely see why people like these chatbots because basically you just ask them what you want to hear. The chatbot's like, yup, you fucking nailed it, bro. So T.Y. Hilton outscores C.D. Lamb. Hot take by Girl Pete. I will say that in this particular game, not a great rushing matchup going against Jacksonville, a .09 EPA, though visually based on the game film, they actually have given up a lot of big runs recently, including what we saw with Derrick Henry, what we saw with DeAndre Swift. I will say Tony Pollard breaks 2 runs of 50 or more yards. No, that seems too aggressive. 2 runs of 40 or more yards for Tony Pollard in this game. I think that's got to be a 10-pointer. I think. Oh, Jason. Does Girl Pete have a plump buttocks? I don't think I can turn her around, but she seems mostly kind of a flat girl. I was going to say a flat sew. She's not a flat sew. Just more of a kind of a classic ironing board. Oh God, what happened? What happened to this show? Philadelphia, 28.5 implied points. Chicago, 19.5 implied points. This game to me, I know I gave a lot of credit to our guy D. Owens in the chat last week for touting Miles Sanders, pointing out something that honestly makes a lot of sense, but I haven't necessarily focused the most on tournaments. In games where we expect the Eagles to boat race the other team, Miles Sanders seems to get there the most. Obviously, it's happened 2 out of the last 3 weeks, so that does feel like a little bit of a bias coming into play here. But I think Miles Sanders is projected for 14.7 DK points from Stochastic. I will take Miles Sanders over 25 DK points. Girl Pete, I feel like probably a Jalen Hurts girl or an AJ Brown girl. Here, let's go this way. Justin Fields outscore Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown this week. Find out. Girl Pete, a baddie who never says no. 10-pointer for Big Jugs. Guys, thank you, chat, for helping me get through today. I think you'll outscore all of them. All right. Girl Pete thinks that Justin Fields outscores Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Honestly, not a bad pick. If I'm giving her a 10-pointer for that one, I think that's pretty solid. If it were both of them combined, obviously that's not going to happen. But I think, honestly, relative to how Philadelphia should perform, and I really do expect the Eagles to boat race the Bears, even on the road. I think that's a pretty hot take. So I'll give her a 10-pointer for that one. Whoa, I don't even know where we're going with this one. New England, 21.8 implied points. Vegas, 22.8 implied points. Mentioned a lot of questionable people for the Patriots coming up in this game. I will go first, though. I think the only safe receiver to target in this one, based on the practice reports so far, is going to be Nelson Agholor. It is also technically a revenge game for Nelson Agholor. I see a 6.7 fantasy point projection for Agholor, so I will take a 10-pointer. Nelson Agholor scores over 17 DK points, which actually would be pretty good at a $3,400 salary, so I don't mind that one at all. Girl Pete, does Josh Jacobs go for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns this week? Oh, 2. Oh, boy. That really backed up on me there. This week? Call it a hunch, guys. I think she's going to guess yes. I think that's where I think that's one is going to go. Thank you, Jason. I got to be honest here. When I see a not curvy AI, I got to call it like it is. Doesn't mean she's any less valid of a person, though. So Girl Pete thinks that Josh Jacobs will score 2 touchdowns and go for 150 yards. That's a hot take because the New England rush defense has actually been one of the strongest in the league this year, giving up minus .097 EPA, a low 40% success rate. New England better against passers, though, so I could see where she's going with that. Obviously, her great football mind coming to play here. That said, I personally, I love Josh Jacobs. Really a lot of my teams in Best Ball advance because of him. That said, the two teams that Pete and I share in Best Ball Mania both have not Josh Jacobs in them right now. At least on my account. I think Pete's also got a couple on his account. If Josh Jacobs doesn't go off this week, 50% of the field in Best Ball Mania might be dead. So that's something to keep in mind here relative to your Josh Jacobs enthusiasm. Obviously, Girl Pete's not thinking about that the same way that you and I might be, but that's Girl Pete for you. And next game up, Arizona 17 implied points, Denver 20 implied points. I've not been a gentleman. I'll ask her here first. Does Russell Wilson go for 30 DK points this week? She's going to be like, no, Russ is fucking washed. Russ, Russ is over. Russ is over. Why girl Pete, not Lady Peter? I think that sounds like a whole different ballgame entirely of AI. Girl Pete, go home. You're drunk. She loves Josh Jacobs. And she loves Russell Wilson. Yes, I think he will go for 30 DK points. Okay, fair enough there. So Russell Wilson going for 30 DK points. That's an easy 10-pointer for Girl Pete in this spot. For me on Arizona, man, Arizona's got a 17-point implied total. I think Arizona scores under 7 points this week. So that'll be a 10-pointer for me. I just think that they don't have a lot to love here. Denver's defense still has been weirdly going out there and playing their fucking asses off every week. So Girl Pete, more of a fan of the offense. I, of course, a guy with my hand in the dirt. I care a lot about the defense here. So Denver going to steamroll Arizona this week. Next game on the board, Tennessee 21.8 implied points. The Chargers 24.8 implied points. I think Girl Pete seems like a real chalk donkey. Derrick Henry, 200 rushing yards this week. I think she's going to say yes. If I had to guess, I think she's going to be like, yeah, Derrick Henry, 200 rushing yards. That's a lock. It's a lock play. Does your wife watch the show? I bet she's so proud today. She catches the clips on social media. I don't think she watches them. Because one time she was watching one of the streams, I think over the summer, where I talked about Matt Corral's busty girlfriend after Mathology sent in her Instagram links. She didn't love that, so I think that's spooked her off a Splash Play episodes. Anyway, Girl Pete, though, yes, I think so. Derrick Henry, 200 rushing yards. That's a hot take by Girl Pete. But it is a nice matchup for Derrick Henry going against the Chargers defense on the year. 0.03 EPA given up, 44% success rate. Both those marks towards the higher end of the league. For me, though, I do think it's hard for Derrick Henry to fail. So the one thing that I've mentioned a lot of times, Tennessee very bad at defending the ball downfield. That is something that teams have taken advantage of the last few weeks in particular that I really felt like a lot of teams should have taken advantage of early on. But I think Mike Williams is going to smash here. 14.3 DK points is a stochastic projection. I think Mike Williams goes for 24.3 DK points or more. That is my take here. Girl Pete loves the run game. I just want to see the deep plays. I want to see the splash plays, baby. Girl Pete doesn't know that. Girl Pete doesn't fucking know. Cincinnati, 24 implied points. Tampa Bay, 20.5 implied points. This is obviously a 3.5 point spread favoring the Bengals. I'm going to juice that one up. I think it's Bengals minus 13.5 in this one for my 10-pointer. Girl Pete, let's see, Tom Brady or Joe Burrow. Who's better? I bet she's going to love Tom Brady. Fucking simpleton. Loves Tom Brady. Tom Brady's washed. Bet Girl Pete doesn't know that. Mike Williams will smash Girl Pete this week. Hopefully not literally. Tom Brady is better, you fool. You absolute fool. So I think she's saying then the projections right now, 20.2 DK point projection for Joe Burrow. Tom Brady, a 17.3 DK point projection. I'm sorry to mansplain for Girl Pete because clearly I have to do that a little more than I would like personally. But I would say in that spot, then that means that she predicts that Tom Brady will outscore Joe Burrow by 7 or more DK points. Hot takes by Girl Pete. Got to give her credit, honestly, for coming with some spice on that one. Sunday Night Football, Giants and Washington. Giants, 18 implied points. The Washington Commanders, 22.5 implied points. Oh, boy, I'm going to ask her, who's the showdown winning captain? Who's the showdown winning captain in Giants Commanders? And why is it Saquon Barkley? You just got to guide her. You got to handhold Girl Pete to the takes. Much like Real Pete, having to be handheld to best ball greatness by me on these streams. Here, Girl Pete is being handheld to the picks she wants. Saquon Barkley is a showdown winning captain because he's a rookie. He's not a rookie, you fucking dolt. He's been in the league for literal years. He's actually kind of old and very overrated. Okay. We're going to educate her if nothing else. My pick, though, is going to be Terry McLaurin, showdown winning captain. Giants blitz at a 42% rate. That's led to big days in the past for Terry McLaurin that I identified in advance. I know he's been in the league for literal years. Oh, yeah, do you, Girl Pete? You just thought he was a rookie. What an idiot. What an absolute idiot. She likes Giant D. Oh, Kyle. You didn't say that. Let's just argue with the AI chatbot for a little bit here before I do the playoff best ball draft. The playoff best ball drafts go fast on Underdog, so we didn't say. Let's see what she says. Girl Pete, No, wait, no, you didn't say it. No, you didn't say it. Anyway, do you have a big butt? All right, we're gonna get to the bottom of this one for all the guys out there. We got all the fantasy picks out of the way. Now we can oh no, click to show message. Oh, I bet it's gonna. What is going on here? I don't want to get romantic. What a ripoff. Anyways, for all you guys out there who are just watching this video to know what it's like to talk to a chatbot, apparently you got to really fucking get pay graded up here. So that's a no. I've been waiting for this show to slowly degrade into a from a football show to full Ex Machina sequel. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will not. I will not pay for sexy chatbots. That's my line. No, not really. I like a nice shape. All right. Well, there we go. I'll ask her any final words here. Any final words for the chat? People want me to pay it. Also, a lot of Ex Machina love in the chat. I did not know that was such a popular thing. I feel like her is more of the analogous one. I'm still learning. I can't think of anything I'd like to say to you, so I'll let you know when I do. Oh my god, this fucking girl, this fucking girl. Anyway, guys, there we go. Our debut of Girl Pete. Maybe she'll make a return. Maybe she won't. I don't know. One thing that will make a return, though, is me to Underdog Fantasy to do a playoff best ball draft because people don't draft Ravens. The Ravens have like a 99% chance to make the playoffs right now. I'm entering the gauntlet, $25 entry fee, 100K to first place on Underdog. If you can play along with me, if you use the promo code SPLASH on Underdogs, double your deposit up to $100. Ross, it's too late now. It's too late. I'm not. No. This is too many people saying pay her. I don't have my credit cards here. They're not on this computer. I'm sorry. I can't do it today. Come back next week and maybe you got sexy chatbot Pete. Look, I don't know. I don't think that's the end of Girl Pete. I think we'll see her again, and maybe I'll pay for an upgrade, and we can all look at her butt here. And then we can talk about fantasy football. Fucking not. That really degenerated. I don't know what I expected. I don't know what I expected for that to turn into, but she gave some pretty good takes. Like, if we're being honest, I think that for the most part, we had to handhold her to really get where we needed her to be. That said, though, I think very solid takes from Girl Pete overall. We got her to where we needed to. And hopefully, honestly, she might beat me in ride or die picks this week, which would be absolutely crushing, is what I would say. Anyway, the gauntlet just filled for us. So let's hit this one real fast before we hop off for the week. And I'm doing this right now instead of Battle Royale drafts. I think in particular this time of year, this is the most solidified the playoffs have been in advance of playoff time in the NFL relative to the last few years. So this is really a situation for me that I feel pretty good about overall, just putting a little more money on some of these teams. The one thing that jumps out to me, though, which I've observed for the playoff basketball tournaments, and I think it's a lot of fun because you're giving yourself skipping the game through the Super Bowl theoretically, but also you basically can't stack up the top QBs because you could see here there's a 1.7 ADP on Josh Allen, a 5.61 on Stephon Diggs. You actually can get those guys stacked up sometimes because there's actually a draft I did last night where Diggs fell to the 12 pick, which was shocking to me. But like normally, for the most part, you're seeing Diggs get taken, you're seeing Kelsey get taken. You can't complete those stacks. So it really is one of those things that I think that people are not doing this the right way, and you're probably better off trying to get a full stack here. So that favors the wild card teams and like Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, all of that. That said, let's see what this room gives us. I've taken a lot of Josh Allen, so I'm going to go Jalen Hurts here. And I think, to me, one of the things you need to consider as well is the bye week teams. Like the Eagles, to me, I think are pretty likely to end up as that bye week team. Record-wise, they still could theoretically blow it to Dallas or blow it to the Niners, I guess, if they keep winning out. But it does seem to me like the Eagles are a team where you might have to take a second wild card quarterback just to try to advance. So that's the kind of thing that I know Pete last year was saying, really try to ride with one team, stack them up heavily, and then hope they could make it through all the rounds. But if you are taking one of the top QBs, like Josh Allen could have that bye, Mahomes could have that bye, Hurts could have that bye. So if you do take those guys, you need to have some high upside guys in that first wild card round or another QB. And I think taking Lamar makes sense for taking that second QB from the wild card round. Oh, Matt. Everybody's falling in love with Girl Pete, and I get it. She came onto the show, was a spitfire, loves Deshaun Watson. I mean, that's the kind of gal you could really sink your teeth into. As we say here. Oh, kill me. That was fun, though. I gotta say, thank you for riding with me on that one, guys. I like doing weird things at the end of the day. Like I was thinking I could just ask my pal Greg Ehrenberg at Stochastic because I'm doing a show with him on Sunday morning on their YouTube channel. So go check that out. But then I was like, fuck it. Like why, why do that when I can have as much fun here with you guys and then AI chatbot and, Greg wasn't going to brick me up the same way that Curl Pete did for all of us, I'm sure. So like this approach to start right here, like Diggs, CD Lamb. So if DJ Hype Train doesn't get Dak Prescott, I just think that's a bad build right away. Yeah, I think there's AJ Brown falling to me would have been nice in that spot, but I think there's a lot of Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown teams out there. So it's hard to be like serious now about best ball because like I legit love playoff best ball, and I think it actually is worth if you guys aren't deposited on Underdog doing that with the promo code Splash, double your deposit to $100. Like I think playoff best ball is really strong. Pete and I built some good teams last year, including Bengals teams that were actually pretty live down the stretch. But we do have Eagles. We now have made our bed with them. That's a kind of backdoor Cincinnati. I might be able to. You know what? Miles Sanders here. One thing that I learned from best ball this year, which like I don't want to do full best ball lessons yet because I think that obviously there's a lot more to learn still. Yeah, here we go. All right, we got an Eagles triple here. Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Devonta Smith. I might take Goddard too because I do think one of Goddard or Smith can get there game to game, whereas A.J. Brown's kind of on his own tier of player within this offensive infrastructure. But there we go. Ross agrees. Miles and Devonta. So you got what you want. I got what I want. We all win here. Blow my... Nothing like East Coast weather to make you really feel fucking congested year round. East Coast weather and having a baby, all those things. Imagine Greg seeing this and knowing you chose this over him. Have Greg on as a guest. He's fun. Yeah, Jason, look, at the end of the day, I know I should be booking guests, but at this point, Pete and I have gone through an entire season without booking any guests. And I kind of feel like I just want to get through 18 weeks without booking a single guest and to see how it goes. Because ultimately, like, if people come here because they want to watch, like we love, like I love Corain, I love like Davis has been great on the show as well. The Underdog guys, if they come here for those guys, maybe they fall in love with me and Pete, or maybe they fall in love with me. But ultimately, like they might just leave and not watch the channel again. Whereas like you guys, if you hang out with me, like you know what you're gonna get. You know we're gonna ride. You know I'm gonna do the best I can to give good info. So that's why I haven't been as aggressive about booking guests. Besides just the social anxiety of asking people to do things for free. So that's really the main thing for me. And honestly, like I like to chat as a guest. Like I like just talking to the chat. Like, you guys made really good ride or die picks last week from what I recall. So that's the reason why, if we want to really get into the business of it, it's like I want people to hang out with me here and then obviously hang out with me and Pete, but could be a mistake. But the sub numbers are going up. So what are we going to do? Anyway, this team over here. All right, so this guy got CD Lamb and Dak. I think that's good. Diggs and Derrick Henry, I think also makes sense. Though Henry, with the Titans, I feel like you're probably not expecting him to get more than one round. I think Derrick Henry's kind of a not great cost to pick up. And there is still a chance Titans don't make the playoffs. Like 538 right now has them as a... Oh, they're up to an 86% chance now. So they've actually increased a little. So they might be a safe team to target overall. All right, so we're back on the clock here. We obviously are building Philly. We need AFC representation. Who's going to be our AFC team? Fuck. I'm just going to take Goddard here. Let's complete our Philly quadruple stack. That I think, again, it was the thing that I wish I did more in best ball overall because I have a few super stack teams that are doing well. I think for the playoffs especially, it makes sense. But now we need to get our bye week team. And I think that is where we are going. A Ravens-Eagles Super Bowl. All the birds showing up here. Nobody believes in the Ravens, including myself. I think the Ravens have been one of the biggest paper tigers on the year. That said, it's tremendous value to be able to get a full Raven stack. J.K. Dobbins, my most exposed player right now in playoff best ball because of the fact that he's going to get you at least one round that can carry you through until the bye week rounds, the second rounds, because then you'll have other running backs coming in off the buys who you have on your teams. So like if I don't think the Eagles are going to be there for the wild card round, I then have to build enough guys that can get me to the Eagles actually playing in the wild card round. So that's where I think the Ravens have a ton of value. Lamar, Andrews, Dobbins, Demarcus Robinson in the 10th round. I think these guys are all really good plays. So that is my one meta, but it's not really because like I don't think the Ravens make a lot of noise. I think they get you through the wild card round, and that's enough to get there. Hey, shout out Strammy. Stay true to you, Spags. I need more chats like that. Not that fucking replica girl, not girl Pete. She's not pumping me up like that. She won't even show me your butt unless I'm paying money. Like, grow up, girl Pete. Grow up, girl Pete. Show the internet your butt for free. Don't make us pay. Listen, AI only fans. AI only fans. Woo. Anyway, I'm like legit though addicted to playoff best ball drafts. So that's something you need to know about me right now. I'm now 15 in. I got whatever money. I guess Underdog does give you money for third place because my account balance went up. Unless they're just giving me money for being like a super chill bro, who they think is pretty gnarly. But I did get some money from the best ball mania rounds, and I feel pretty good about having some more bankroll here without having to drop some bucks in Underdog, because we all know they're going to pay us back at the end of the regular best ball season. All right, back on the clock here. All right, we can get Mark Andrews. Done. Somebody take Dobbins from me. Somebody took Dobbins. Oh, you rascals. All right, I'll take Gus Edwards later or something then. Go fuck it. I'll take Gus Edwards now. I'm not letting you guys ruin my Ravens build here. Ah, there we go. Okay, Paul's right here. So it's not me being a super chill bro. It is, in fact, me getting paid the minimum amount for advancing teams. So there we go. That makes more sense then. Because I was like, is that why they're tracking third place? Is they're just giving you like 25 bucks for each third place team? Because boy, oh boy, did old Spags, and they get a little unlucky with the third place teams. But that's what's going to happen with when you have Trey Lance, Darren Waller, T. Higgins at high volume. That's the nature of the game. Kyle, am I doing any content for the Saturday slate? Check the earlier videos in the week. I did a first look on it. The main thing to me, based on what I was seeing in Cruncher, is to try not to play. Let me see. It's still accurate here. Limit yourself to 3 Vikings. Ideally, if you can get down to 2 Vikings, even better. But everybody's going to be jamming pretty heavily 3, 4, 5, even 6 Vikings overall, including the defense, obviously. So that's my main thing for Saturday. It's the same thing as the Thanksgiving slate where I was talking about the Bills. Just limit yourself in terms of Vikings and let the numbers do whatever they do. You're going to see a lot of Dalvin Cook, a lot of Hockenson, a lot of Jefferson. I think Cousins with Jefferson and Hockenson, no Cook, is pretty appealing to go to. And I just take Taylor on the other side. And I also think J.K. Dobbins, to me, doesn't come up a lot with projections, but I think Dobbins is an absolute smash going against Cleveland, who's so bad on the ground. Dobbins, I think people are going to like frown upon him limping his way down the field in that game this past week against Pittsburgh. The fact that he's able to do what he did while like hobbling down the field, and this is a much better matchup for him. Like, I think he actually can have an outlier day, even if he's still hurt, even if he's still recovering. And I'm more encouraged by the fact that he can do this, even though he is still recovering. Anyway, bad Rooker. Okay. Bad Rocker. Excuse me. They're the one that took J.K. Dobbins. Their team seems kind of stupid based on what I'm seeing here, but sure. All right. It's going to happen in these drafts. So you're going to find some stupid teams going against you. I should take an NFC wildcard team, I think, or a team that can make it to face Philly. I'm going to take Ayuk here. I probably need one more running back as well. I do like Samaje Perine in general as a running back to take, just in the hopes that either Mixon goes down or you see one of those luck box touchdowns for Samaje Perine. Let's see. So we have an Eagles Baltimore Super Bowl. We have all that represented here. Honestly, maybe I don't need another running back. I need a wild card running back if I need one. I think Cincinnati's in the wild card, so I'll take Perine again. So basically, and I'll give you guys the 538 numbers real fast before we go. So the teams that are for sure in the playoffs right now, the Eagles, 99% chance for the Bills, Chiefs, Cowboys, 97% chance for the Bengals. The Niners also officially in the playoffs now, and they've won their division too. Ravens, 98% chance to make it in. Vikings, 99% chance to make it in. This is all according to 538. We have similar numbers for Football Outsiders as well. Titans at an 86% chance. And then from there are all the teams that like might make it in, might not. 70% chance for the Dolphins, 77% chance for the Commanders, though like they're more of a wild card team. I don't think they have a good shot at advancing overall. And then Bucks, 67%, Panthers low. I would really, at this point of drafts, focus on the teams that we know are for sure going to be in, because I think that's the edge, is that people are treating the Ravens like they might not make it, when in reality, the Ravens are as sure of a thing as like literally as the Cowboys are or as the Chiefs are. So those are, I think, the slivers of advantage you can have right now. But my final team here, we got Jalen Hurts, Lamar, Miles Sanders, Gus Edwards, Samaje Perine, Smith, Goddard, Andrews, Ayuk. I would think having one QB is a little more beneficial, but you need that QB to be playing in the wild card rounds that can carry you through. That's why, to me, Joe Burrow stacks the most appealing. Dak Prescott stacks also appealing. You can get those late, and sometimes also one of Pollard or Zeke falls enough to get there too. But super stack a team that you think can get to the Super Bowl. That's the way that you win this. That's the way you make yourself the most live throughout. And then, and I might actually add on a DeMarcus Robinson to this one too. But you basically want to have a full roster of teams for the Super Bowl. And that means one QB, one running back, two pass catchers, one flex. So just keep that in mind when you're building, because if you have zeros in the finals, you're not going to be in a good spot. And the goal is to win the finals. The goal is not to make it out of the wild card round. The goal is to make it out of the wild card round and win it all at the end. And that's ultimately one thing I think people miss on these particular DraftKings, or not DraftKings, best ball playoff slates. And on DraftKings especially too, because those people are fucking idiots over there. All right. Yeah, let's increase the bet on the Ravens. Why not? Would have really liked Dobbins, though. But I have so much Dobbins, it does make sense to take one Gus Edwards here. And you guys can see my exposures. I'll show you them real fast. QB, you can see I'm drafting a lot of Lamar, a lot of Burrow, a lot of Hurts. Josh Allen, I'm getting whenever I get there. And I did get Josh Allen and Diggs yesterday, as I mentioned. So it can happen. It's not the most likely. And I do think if you have Allen with like Gabe Davis, Knox, like that's just less appealing to me, even though Gabe, we did see spike the huge upside in the playoffs last year. Oh, Justin hated the way the draft unfolded. Sorry, Justin. That's tough, man. That's the thing where with these in particular, you kind of really have to be playing 4D chess and looking 3 moves ahead for the playoff best ball, because you just don't want to have people stepping on your stacks. And that can happen even if like you make a really good plan as well, because people sometimes snipe you. Like one guy sniped me yesterday on a Bengal stack because I took AJ Brown because I was trying to build my NFC team. And he had Jalen Hurts. Like the guy just then spitefully took every Bengal after that. That's how that goes sometimes. So something to keep in mind there. Running back, you can see I have 71% Dobbins so far, 43% Jerick McKinnon, another play that I think makes it to the title game, if not at least the divisional round. Singletary, I think, is also pretty good. I think just take running backs that you are going to go with the team that can make it to the Super Bowl, because ultimately you just want to have these points come there. And again, that's the thing that I didn't do enough in best ball, where it wasn't about really QB, running back, they don't correlate the best. It's about who are the teams that are going to put up the most points for the most extended period of time. So like, that's why you can go Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, and not feel that bad about it, because the one of those guys is probably going to have an outlier day. The other one's got a decent floor. So those are the kind of plays that look good. I think McCaffrey is also a very good play. You can get the Niners stack overall for pretty cheap, and I think they are very live to be a Super Bowl team. I warned about it yesterday that they might dust the Seahawks. They did do it, I think, even more enthusiastically than I would have thought. You get McCaffrey early, you get Debo at a discount, you get Ayuk, you can get Kittle, you get Brock Purdy. The one risk point is obviously Brock Purdy being there, but that's something that I think we have to assume at this point, because it really does feel like Jimmy G is not going to make it back out this year. Tyler Boyd, I think, is an interesting play for Cincinnati, obviously completing that full Bengal stack, which I've tried to do a lot. Diggs, I think, makes sense. Gabe Davis makes sense. The tough part really is just balancing how do you advance versus how do you have teams that are actually live to win, in the Super Bowl. So I still think, I'd rather game stack, fully team stack a wild card team that has the upside, like the Bengals. I think the Bengals defense is good, and I also think the offense is good enough to throw them into any game. But you make the same case for the Bills. The Bills defense getting better by the week with Tre'Davious White back out there, and also offensively, they might have to score more against the Chiefs or the Bengals. Same thing for the finals as well for the Super Bowl, where if they go against Dallas, Philly, like also good defenses. There's a lot of really good defenses in the playoffs this year, which is something I think to keep in mind as well, is that I don't expect huge outlier performances, maybe in a few of the AFC games and obviously a few of the NFC games in the wild card in particular. But unless the Vikings like really meaningfully advance, I don't think there's a team that has a bad defense in the NFC that's going to be there. It's Cowboys, it's Eagles, it's Niners. Those teams are all like shut down teams defensively that are really going to make it tough for the other teams to score. And they can get there by passing a lot, but that's just, how I'm viewing it overall. And I hope that adds some value to your guys' lives. So there you go, guys. Thank you for riding with me in this one. Of course, I got to put the neon flashing GIF on a live stream. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the like button. If you're watching after the fact as well, leave a comment. Hopefully you enjoyed the insanity of this particular show. But legitimately, for all of you guys in the chat right now, as well as everybody who watches this after the fact, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me and riding with me as I've tried to kind of find my footing here with Pete not available as much, obviously, the last few weeks, but in general throughout the year. So really, thank you guys. And I hope your playoffs go well. Hope the playoff best ball goes well. well, and really do try to draft an underdog playoff best ball right now. I think there is a pretty big advantage. Shout out to all you guys for hanging out with me, and I will be back on Monday with more showdown content. So please come back then to check it out. Short form videos, good info in as fast of a time frame as I can possibly give. Enjoy your weekends, guys. Good luck.